Howdy, folks. This is Ted Lasso, your favorite optimistic American football coach turned English football coach. And welcome to the Richmond Way, a Ted Lasso Rewatch podcast. So grab your biscuits, put on your AFC Richmond scarf, and let's embark on this journey together.
Welcome back to another episode of the Richmond Way podcast. With me, as per usual, are Miss Bonnie Marie Williams, somewhere on the screen or in your ears somewhere.
Hi.
In your head holes, your listening holes.
No, that's only the Patreon. And for those dulcet tones, speaking of going in your ear holes, that is Mr.
Right.
Michael Soren. Welcome, sandwich enthusiast.
Bibbidi-bobbidi.
And then returning from Make Rebecca Great Again, Kyle Bandujo. Welcome, sir.
Hey guys. Happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Now, Kyle,
Welcome back.
I heard you have a book coming out.
I do. I have a fun author copy right here. It is Movies with Balls, the greatest sports films of all time, analyzed and illustrated. And I clarify sports films. So no Ted Lasso. We actually did think about it. But it is kind of a love letter to 26 of the greatest fictional sports movies ever made. We break down why we love them, the movies themselves. We break down in most movies, break down like a specific game that happened in the movie. So like in The Replacements, the final game there, in Dodgeball, the Globo Gym v Average Joe's championship match, we pick an MVP. We debate if someone was good at their job or not. Like in Dodgeball, we debate if White Goodman's lawyers were good at their job. The survey says no, getting forced out of a company you founded with only $5 million. And then go into some different categories. We speculate, did Rachel Phelps, the owner from Major League, did she invent Moneyball? Where would Roy Tin Cup McAvoy be 20 plus years later? We kind of surmise that he would be doing a Tom Mamansky style instructional DVD. So great, incredible illustrations from my creative partner, Rick Bryson. There are tickets for every game. That's kind of the original genesis of the idea. So what the ticket would have looked like, some cool play maps, a bunch of cool visuals. So that is available wherever books are sold right now for pre-order, and it comes out on September 24th. It makes a great gift. You can knock out all your Christmas shopping right now. Buy it for all your relatives.
There you go.
Every single one. It looks great on a shelf. Looks great on a coffee table. Great book you can flip through if you like sports movies. So, wow, that is some incredible promo. You guys are so much better at this than me. But yeah, that is my book. So if you and I'm giving out a signed book plate and a Movies with Balls sticker to anyone who sends me proof of pre-order. So that's my spiel. Buy my book, please.
Nice. And I pre-ordered it. So
you did, and you sent me that proof of pre-order, and I'm very, very grateful.
Kicked them off.
Oh wow, kicked me off.
Pre-ordered it and they kicked them off the show.
You sent me that proof of pre-order, and I'm very grateful and grateful to you and all the people who have pre-ordered the book so far. So
nice.
We're depending on when is this coming out? This is coming out down the road, right?
Yeah, we
Probably.
usually have these banked like maybe like a month and a half ahead.
Oh yeah, book is out then. You can get it. You can get it delivered to you probably in like a day by Amazon. So but it's available Amazon, Barnes and Noble, should be in stores at that point. So you can get it wherever at that point. It's live and in the wild.
Nice.
Live and in the
So
wild.
since you said it's only movies with balls, then right? So it's the movies with pucks.
Movies with pucks. The only hockey movie we have is Slapshot.
Okay.
Mighty Ducks did not make the cut. Sadly, we had to cut it down. The caveat was
off the show.
The caveat was they had to be fictional because the original genesis was the idea of the tickets. So the ticket for real life movies like Remember the Titans, Miracle, things like that, those exist somewhere. The tickets for the Miracle on Ice game are on eBay and very, very expensive. So it was the caveat of had to be fictional, and then we had to try to cut it down, get a little bit of everything in there. A couple baseball movies, a couple golf, some basketball, but we have everything from, as I said, dodgeball. We have hockey, we have jousting, A Knight's Tale, a movie that doesn't get nearly enough love.
Nice.
We try to get a little bit of everything in there.
Talk about how often Paul Bettany is naked in the movie.
we talk about how Paul Bettany absolutely cooks in that movie. I still have I have Paul Bettany stock coming out of the walls because of A Knight's Tale.
It's not Paul Bettany. I think it was Alan Tudyk.
Well, Paul Bettany, they're both in it. Paul Bettany is very naked for multiple scenes in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Paul Bettany's the
Alan Tudyk naked.
Yeah, but even when he's naked, he's just cooking. The first scene, they come across him on the road, and he's playing Geoffrey Chaucer, the author, and they come across him on the road, and he is stark naked, and just seems like he doesn't have a care in the world. It is really an incredible performance.
I feel like it'd be more appropriate for Paul Bettany to be stark naked.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
I see what you did there.
That joke's better suited for a different podcast that we make dad jokes on. So
we don't make those here. I'm in the wrong place.
Well, I mean, I guess we do, because I mean, Ted in himself makes those kind of isms all the time, anyways. But yeah, so people can it's out. People go to movieswithballs.com or local booksellers and whatnot. Grab Kyle's book.
Do those exist anymore?
They do.
Hopefully.
There's and if you want to support a local bookseller but don't want to actually go there, bookshop.org will buy a book from a local bookseller. If you buy a book from bookshop.org, they buy it from a local seller, I think near you. I'm not actually sure how that works, but yeah, so you can support local bookstores from the comfort of your own home on your phone.
Nice. So this week, this is, I believe, match 14 for us now, and it's for season 2, episode 3 of Ted Lasso, which is called "Do the Right-est Thing."
So many numbers.
Yeah, so many. You want some more numbers? This dropped August 15th of 2021 on Apple TV, and the synopsis is as follows. Rebecca has a special visitor shadow her at work. A player's return is not welcomed by the team. So to elaborate a little bit further on that, when Rebecca is asked to look after her goddaughter, she discovers the most rewarding activity is letting the young girl shadow her at work. Jamie Tartt's return to the team turns out to be a rocky road. Due to unsavory business practices in Nigeria, Sam organizes a protest against one of the team's biggest sponsors. And Keeley is promoting a new dating app, Banter, while Roy continues to relish his role as a Sky Sports pundit. So, thoughts
With
on
that,
this? Yeah. What are everybody's like just overall thoughts? Like when you rewatched it again, you finished it, you're like, this about this episode.
I mean, I can kick off and say that I love every episode of Ted Lasso gives you a bunch of different things to chew on in terms of like, oh, this is the episode where this happens. There's never any like filler. Kind of depends on how you feel about season 3, but there's always like you think about this episode and it is the Sam and Dubai Air. Like that's the biggest thing. Obviously the team coming out with the duct tape, like that's the emotional crux. But there's all these little things. There's Rebecca and Nora spending time together. Roy explaining the key to parenting of kids just like want to be involved in your lives, which like I've tried to take to heart since watching this episode. My favorite single moment might be I honestly I'm sad that we didn't get more of Roy in the studio. Everything he says when he's on TV is hilarious. The Jamie Tartt, he's a Muppet. Hope he dies with the incurable condition being a little bitch. All timer, but it's amazing how much they cram into 36 minutes and I'll make it hit. So I'm a huge fan of this episode.
I have to assume Brett Goldstein wrote that line specifically too because he's such a Muppets fan to make that. I don't think it's maybe the first reference. No, because in the first season he's like say something bad about the Muppets.
Then they mention another Muppets thing, and he like
basically
Muppets come up a couple times.
I would love to see a Brett Goldstein-written Muppets movie.
Oh man, yeah. Like if everyone enjoyed the Jason Segel the Muppets movie, I can only imagine what a Brett Goldstein Muppets movie would be in that same vein.
You could just put the Shrinking Crew on Muppets.
Yeah, they're Harrison Ford with Muppets. There you go.
I think Muppets would freak him out at this point.
I don't know.
It'd be like the day. I don't know if you guys have seen the David Blaine video when he's
Get the
Have
hell out of
I?
my house.
Yeah.
yeah, he's get the hell out of my house. Just
I don't know. Does this stuff really freak this guy out?
Did he really do something for that though?
Yeah.
It's all
I don't know.
all computers. He
Yeah,
could have just
I
been
mean-
sleeping and they put the dots on his face, and it's like
Maybe. He's got those big red nips in that movie.
he does.
I mean, he's used to. He already did the CGI thing once for the new Indiana Jones, so he's kind of
Yeah.
old hat for him.
Old hat.
I'll just ask him. I'll go out with him for research, and then I'll
There
come
you
back
go.
and let you guys know. Yeah.
Look out for Ally McBeal.
I saw a
Nice.
post
Yeah.
on Instagram the other day that was like, these are all of just classic Harrison Ford fits from the 70s and 80s. And it was just like, my God, this is the most handsome person who's ever lived. Like,
Don't I
it's just,
know
it's
it.
unbelievable how handsome that man is.
It's true.
Mhm.
True. I'm gonna
Yep.
silence.
I
the-
close
the
my
hot
eyes
anthem.
and I see Harrison Ford from the 70s. Like, that's just
The
under my
scruff.
eyelids.
No one
It-
has worn
it's just
scruff
beautiful.
better. It's incredible.
Mhm.
If people wanted to thank George Lucas for anything, thank him for bringing Harrison Ford into everyone's lives, because he was just a stand-in.
He was just
Uh,
a carpenter, a lowly carpenter.
Yeah, he was just a stand-in on
You know who else was a carpenter and
the
then became
members
a
of the
savior?
Carpenters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think of the episode, Mike?
I mean, it felt like a low-key episode compared to other ones. It set up the Sam storyline, giving him more meat in the series. Brought us Led Tasso for some comedic effect. But it just felt like it felt, to me, overall good. I enjoyed it, but it just felt like it was setting up more future stuff than not. It wasn't, so I just enjoyed it. Like the Rebecca goddaughter thing, like makes me think about mistakes I've made with my godson,
Mm.
and I've tried to rectify a little bit, not as hard as I probably should. So
I know that kid.
Mm.
You got to take him to a British girls doll store.
it's true
Get,
with the
grab an
tragic
orphan
backstories.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. I was like that scene was like we don't do those very well, do we? It's like they have much more tragic. And I think they said
Nobody
something like
orphans a doll like the British.
yeah, and they're like the American ones are much more hopeful. Maybe that's their sense of misguided hope that they have.
Okay, American Girl dolls. If you walk in Target, one of them has like a broken leg. What happened to this doll? It comes with a cast and a crutch. Like,
She had tuberculosis probably or something.
Maybe she got hurt saving somebody's life in some historic event.
Tore her ACL playing the Jets.
there you
Yeah.
go. That's what she did.
Goddamn Jets.
Playing
Mhm.
pickleball. That's American, right? No, I enjoy it. Like I kind of echo the. I wish we had more as Roy as a pundit, and I wish there was more Roy pundits in this world, because then sports broadcasting would be a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
He's the best. Like, I could have done a whole season of that, honestly. I'm
Mhm.
not regretting. Like, I love obviously the rom-com episode. But I could have watched Roy on that set. It was incredible. Like, it's one of my favorite things that the show has done.
Yeah. Like
And I didn't know
what if
calling someone with a Muppet was an insult.
yeah, I was like that feels like a nice thing to say about Jamie. It's like I'd like to-
Maybe Roy has dispositions against Muppets that the rest of us don't have.
Is Jamie a very manly Muppet or a Muppet of a man?
He's a very manly Muppet.
He's Squidward.
No. I take that back. He's a Muppet of a man.
Now, if Brett Goldstein does a Muppet movie, I think we need Phil Dunster in that Muppet movie too, and to not be a human in it, but to just
Be a
be
Muppet.
one of the Muppets, like how Walter was introduced in the Muppets. Have a new Muppet in that's voiced by Phil Dunster that just looks like Phil Dunster. But
It's
is a
like the
Muppet
classic social media bit of, take one movie and like make everyone keep one character human, make everyone else Muppets.
Yeah.
Like this show, but just Phil Dunster is a human. This show, but just Roy is incredible.
Yeah. Muppets
That
Pride and Prejudice. That's what I want.
Muppets Pride and Prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch
Can't
that.
tell me he wouldn't be terrific in that. That's what I want.
Nice.
The thing is, if they did Muppets Pride and Prejudice, they would make Kermit Mr. Darcy, but they should make Sam Eagle Mr. Darcy.
I don't know why that made me laugh.
I don't know, I'd have to see Pride and Prejudice to get the reference.
Oh man. Well, if you want to be slowly segued into it, watch Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and then you can watch Pride and Prejudice.
I'd want to see Brett Goldstein as Mr. Darcy, and then everybody else, like Miss Piggy trying to be dramatic as Elizabeth Bennet. Like that's what I would want to see.
That would be good. I'd be
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's the version that I'm pushing for. I think that'd be fun.
I'd be into that.
We'd have to get a first edition of Pride and Prejudice and sign it in the front of it. But that's not in this season. But
It defaced a rare book.
speaking of like rom-coms, and this is somehow going to be a segue. Nora.
Well, we gotta get Bonnie's take on the episode still, do
Oh, yeah.
we not?
Yeah, Mark.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was looking at pictures of Harrison Ford from the 70s. And now I have a few of those tabs open. I was like, no, we're going American Graffiti, and then we're going from there. Like
You just heard Red Nips earlier, and you're like, Harrison Ford. Red
no, I heard
Nips.
Harrison Ford, and then I Googled from there. Probably my most frequented Google search is just Harrison Ford 1970s.
Gotta do that
it's-
incognito so that.
Oh no,
She
I want
wants the
Google to
targeted
know.
ads.
Okay.
I want the targeted ads. No, I liked it. There were a lot of fun moments in this, and it was good to come back. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you guys, but it was good
You
to come
skipped
back
last
to it.
episode.
I know I was moving.
How dare you?
I know. But now you won't hear my neighbors arguing with each other anymore while I'm
Still
recording.
maintain
It's
they could have
wonderful.
been a podcast. Just listen to your neighbors argue.
Yeah, well, next time. No, I don't want to put that out there. No, I actually really liked it, and I think I put when I started watching it again, and I put in the notes like, I know I'm gonna like Jamie again, but today is not that day. And then by the episode, I was like, all right, I think I like him again a little bit. Like I changed
yeah.
my mind in that 45 minutes.
This is when it starts.
Uh-huh. And I was like, nah, it won't be today. And then, do the SpongeBob 2 hours later. And then me being like, actually, oh no, he's grown. Okay,
Wait a
maybe a
minute.
little bit. But I
Or
liked
did
it.
Ted
I liked
Lasso
it.
just work on you? Did Ted Lasso make you hate him enough to like Jamie?
No. At first I was like, Ted, I think I said something like, Ted, stop it, with Dr. Sharon. I'm like, get over it, Ted. I was just mad at
Yeah.
him because she reminds me of my old therapist. And so I think I was, oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I was a little bit mad at him. That's fair.
See,
That's
it
fair.
works.
It worked. Okay.
Works
You
on
were
Bonnie
right.
and Chuck E. Cheese.
Yep. You're right. I'm going to go back to looking at pictures of Harrison Ford now.
Charles Edward Cheesington III.
That's
It's
one of the-
Charles
that's an all-time moment.
Entertainment Cheese.
Oh, I think
His
there you
middle
go.
name is Entertainment.
I can't remember what Ted says though. That's what I was trying to
Oh,
go for.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think he
I
goes
don't
with
know.
like Charles Edward Cheesington III or something like that. That's one of the all-time Tedisms in this episode.
Plus, I like that they brought that college team that they were playing with to a Chuck E. Cheese. And
Well,
that, like,
the Buffalo Bills take their team to Dave and Buster's, so
which is just adult Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that. Yeah. Pretty much. So yeah, I mean, for me, I overall really enjoyed this episode too. There's things in it that like kind of, push the show forward a bit too. It was like, this is kind of the first time, or one of the first times you really see the Lasso way, as it were, outside of some of the stuff in season one, like starting to build like that team bonding within the team at this. Like Sam makes that choice, and then he thinks that it's only going to be him and a couple other of his Nigerian teammates that are going to be doing the tape across the Dubai Air on the jerseys, or the kits rather. and then Jamie does it. But I think I like how you kind of see that happening, and like Ted sees that, and you kind of see how he's reacting to that, and you can kind of see that the stuff is starting to take effect that they're trying to do there. So we're like seeing some of that forward momentum and his presence there, and like how it's affecting others from there. But like the thing that I thought was funny at the open of this episode, like with Nora sitting like at the reception, and they start talking about horses, and and they have
I've
like
never seen a horse fly.
Yeah, but then she's like,
pee.
yeah, it's loud.
Good.
I appreciate that Ted doesn't
moment.
treat her like a little kid when he walks in. He just instead is just willing to level with her and banter with her, which is kind of the way you need to treat most children who once they get like actual talking age, like actual like normal person age. And just one of those Tedisms. And Mark, back on your point about like the Lasso way, this is it's like the test of a good locker room when you can bring in a variable and they either corrupt the culture like or conform to the culture. And we already know that like Jamie did everything he could to possibly tank that culture in season 1, and then season 3 or season 2, what Ted has built, Jamie's able to with some admitted remorse on his part and some different expectations, is able to kind of settle in and become a part of the team and further himself and further the team. So it's like a really great proof of concept for Ted.
Yeah, I agree. The other part that I like in here too is like when Ted is talking to Sassy there too, and he's like, "Is she mine?" And she's like, "We only had sex 6 months ago, Ted." He's like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
I love their relationship so much. They're just crackling. Like they're so good together. I love their back and forth, and that's an incredible duo of people. I love every time we get to see them spend some time together.
Yeah, it's always fun to see Sassy show back up on the show too, because she's not on it that often, but she's always very funny when she does show up on it, and a awesome presence.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that little moment. I thought it was just funny. And you're like, Ted, math. And then she said that. And I especially liked that the part where she was talking about how great he was, and then Rebecca spat out the biscuit.
Did he talk like that?
The whole time. And so eager to please. It was fabulous.
That was funny to me. See, girls talk about that stuff too. That's all.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. Is like Ted's like, oh, not in front of her. I was like, they've talked about it, Ted. You should know this.
Like, they want to talk
they've
about
had
the
a full blown
science of it all.
breakdown over it.
Yeah.
He's very eager to please.
Yeah.
I think that's funny though.
We have those chats with our friends. Yeah.
Yeah, right where she's like he was talking like that like the entire time, and I can only imagine like what Ted-isms are, but like I feel like they would be PG-13 like Ted-isms like during that, but it's kind of funny to imagine like what he'd be if he's talking the way that like he does, like what he'd be like saying.
In the act, is Ted like Ted? Is a very interesting question. It's a very interesting dynamic to think about. Is he the same way in the act, or can he like tone it down a little bit? Would be interesting. Probably only a question that Jason Sudeikis can answer.
Like, Jason, all I want to ask you is like, what is Ted like when he's, going to Pound Town? What's he like? What's he like?
When he
probably says that too.
When he's attending ThunderDong, what is going on there at that point? But that would be a funny question. Like, say there is a season 4 or whatever there is, and someone gets to do like a press junket with him, and that's just the question that they ask. They're like, "You think I'm going to ask one of these questions or one of those questions?" But they're like, "No, I want to know what Ted is like when he and Sassy are together in bed."
Hey,
What does he
be
say?
the get credentialed. Be the truth you want to see in the world. You can be the one to ask that question.
There we go. We'll manifest that. One of the three Richmond Way hosts will be the one to ask that to Jason Sudeikis.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I have no problem with answering that question.
Yeah, I'll say you're probably the most likeliness to do it, since you're within a city where he'd more than likely be more often than not. But there's that. And the other thing too, and like in the scene like after this, when Ted's doing the press conference there, I like how he's basically has like this game going on with the reporters there of like how he's accepting questions, or he's like or like something like, I don't remember what the thing was exactly.
Give me your best
like,
Pat Benatar.
Yeah, it's like, hit me, or it's like, hit me with your best shot.
Fire away.
And then he makes
the
the
reporter's pumped when he gets it too. He's like,
and then there's the Bring It On reference there too. He says something like Kirsten Dunst, and he says Bring It On. But enjoyed that whole section there with all of that. And then like we go to the locker room after that, and one of the things I thought was interesting too is like as Keely is talking to Sam about his Dubai Air ad that he did, and they're like, everyone's giving him kind of like just like friendly kind of like crapping on him for like doing the pictures and stuff, and someone says something about like him wearing his kit on the airplane, and like Jamie tries to chime in with that, and then it's just like
nobody bought.
Like dead silence. I was like, oh, I know that feeling where I've made like a joke, and then it's like,
anyway.
Yeah,
no, and that's the moment where you think like, oh, they're gonna. Jamie doesn't quite know how to fit in. He did, and that's a thing that if you can razz your teammates if they know it's in jest, and like if they you have to build up a certain level of like trust and brotherhood, and Jamie just doesn't have that with them at that point.
That's true.
Was this the same part where he goes around the room, starts apologizing too, or is that later?
I believe that's a little bit later.
Oh, that's an all-timer though. Give Janet
that
my
was
best.
such a good scene.
Oh yeah, I think maybe that was right now too. Yeah, no, it is right now, because he does that, and then he's like, there's the silence, and there's and then he does go around and apologize, and like, you got us
You hit on my mom in front of my dad.
and give Janet my best. Just an incredible moment.
I'm not a worm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then I think this is also like where Keely talks about getting everyone to sign up for banter too.
Then Colin's like, oh, it's like Grinder, and everyone's like, huh?
Wait a second. They move past it very quickly.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that. Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that little Easter egg?
Yeah, that's a don't call back, call forward there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like Keely kind of clocks it a little bit, but yeah, I don't think anybody else does. But I thought that was like interesting. Again, for other people that feel like they wedged that in season 3, it's there the entire time. Like Colin is always Colin. So go back to season 2, people. If you don't.
Yeah, no, I wasn't watching this episode on the 5th time I watched it close enough. That's a nice little catch. Wow.
Yeah. It's even got like, oh, here's a fun film production story for me related to Grinder. So I production assisted on assisted. Yeah, there. Thank you, Mike. On a commercial for that, and they had to send me petty cash for that through, and they sent it to me through Venmo. But what was funny is that the caption on it just says "Grinder Petty," and they sent it like in the public one too. I was like, so if nobody knows I'm working on like a production thing, I just have a amount of like $300 sent to me in Venmo that just says petty or like Grinder Petty.
That's a tough one. That's one you're gonna have to explain. You're gonna have some awkward conversations.
And now they can just listen to this episode.
Hey,
of the
you got the
Richmond
cash up front. I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, so I don't know. The other thing in this, I just think that Nora, they write younger characters very well in the show, like between Phoebe as Roy's niece, and then
Well, they don't write them as
yeah, they just
kids.
basically they're effectively, you know, just full characters by themselves. It doesn't matter that they're whatever age that they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. Like Nora is a great character. Phoebe's a great character, and they add dimensions to both Roy and Rebecca within whenever they show up. But I like that inclusion of her, and I think it's well. I mean, we'll see more of her in like other episodes too. But what did you guys think of like Nora in general? Like, since this is the first time we see her in the show.
I thought she was a good ad.
Yeah, we all talk at the same time.
That was a Bill
We're all
Lawrence.
so excited to get it out. It's just terrific.
No, yeah, I think she was a good ad. I like that. It was good to see that dynamic for Rebecca, because we know that like Rebecca's kind of harbored that the guilt of not being around, and I also thought like watching a little kid like meet their idol in Sam and getting that picture and stuff like that was just fun. I thought it was a really good add to the show.
I agree, and I also thought it was interesting that they chose an Alanis Morris that Jagged Little Pill song to introduce her with. Like, what are you trying to reference there?
I don't know. It's a bop. There's definitely a reason for it, but
yeah, they don't pick anything that doesn't have a specific reason.
I also thought that was funny because I couldn't remember if it's been us on the podcast making Alanis Morissette references, or if it was the show making Alanis Morissette.
Well, the show made the reference to God being a woman, and then
and that made
put in
that
the picture
alluded
of Alanis Morissette from Dogma. Oh.
So it's just kind of kismet with us bringing up Alanis Morissette in the past season 2 episodes we talked about. And then
I think we mentioned it to another episode when we talked about like Dave Coulier for some reason.
Cut it out.
Never ceases to amaze that song's about him.
yeah.
Just tell people when they watch Full House, be like, yeah, Full House, go listen to the song. Same guy.
He was on that like Celebrity Big Brother show too, wasn't he?
I think he was
doing stupid shit.
Is that like the Surreal Life days, like stuff like that? Like I was big into that when I was in the 2000s.
Yeah, that's what it was called, because it had Flavor Flav on there.
That's how Flavor Flav blew up again.
Oh yeah,
Flavor Flav and Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah.
What a couple.
Flavor Flav, notoriously a Ted Lasso fan too. So
yeah,
he's always in Vegas. You'll see him every time you like walk around. It's like, oh, there's Flavor Flav. Okay, it's just like whatever.
I feel like he fits in very well in Vegas.
Yeah.
The clock goes well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, 90s, I guess you could only host a video, like a funny videotape show, if you were one of the male characters from Full House.
Mm-hmm.
So
the fact that Bob Saget got that gig and Full House is still astounding.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to his stand-up.
Or was John Stamos's funny video TV show?
It'll come out eventually. He hasn't done it yet. Yeah.
Stamos just makes a living on being really good looking.
Yeah,
it's all we could ever want is just to be so good looking that you can make a living.
It's a dream.
What's the line from Parks and Rec where she's telling, "Oh, Anne, you've been so beautiful your whole life. You've never had to compensate for being funny." It's stable to them all. It's been beautiful forever. He doesn't need to compensate by being funny.
Mm-hmm.
God bless Stamos.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I think there's like a line in this scene, where Ted asks Beard like what the plan is for the game against the team they're playing, and he's like physical, borderline violent. I don't even know what like team they're playing, but I just like apparently like that's like because they need to like not get any more of the ties, so they're just like we need to like just beat the crap.
I thought he said the team was going to be physical, not that they needed to be physical. Maybe I misinterpreted. It was so funny. Like
Beard's like be physical.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of that, like we get another thing with Nate where like
they're gonna kill him.
Yeah, like where he's like getting, I forgot what the term was, but it's in season, what is it, like Schadenfreude, like where you get
Schadenfreude,
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, where it's like the pleasure of watching other people like in being in pain.
Happiness at the misfortune of others. It's also a great song from Avenue Q, the musical. Highly recommend.
Avenue Q.
Mm-hmm.
Is that next to Sesame Street?
Dirty Puppets. Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of Muppets, but yeah, so like since you haven't been on this yet this season, Kyle, like what is your take so far this like far into the season like about like this
far
like, slow well, I mean that's like a third of the season.
So the season 1 kind of came out of nowhere, and was like a sleeper hit. Like it was a slow kind of wave. There was a lot of expectation coming on this, and you're kind of wondering, do they keep the same vibe? I think something that they did well in season 2 was layer in a little more plot, a little more subplots, give different characters more time to cook. I think that's something that they got out a little over their skis on in season 3 in certain aspects. But in season 2, I think it like a really good layer. I mean, truly like adding an extra 6 to 10 minutes in most of the episodes, because season 1 was a lot shorter. So some of the episodes, but really like adding a little bit. Like I enjoy, especially with the start. I love what they've done with Roy, like coming that classic athlete thing, having to come to grips with what you're doing. Keely getting him in the studio job, and you knew that they would find a way to finagle Jamie back to Richmond. I love the way they did it. And I love, I think the conversation between him and Ted at May's Pub is one of the better early moments of season 2. And then this episode really is really like Sam's time to shine, and really where he starts becoming one of the main cast. So I love this, and then it hits, I think, like a high point, like a really high point. The Christmas special is now something I watch every Christmas, so that obviously the next episode, and then the rom-com episode, Rainbow, just might be top 3 for me. So not to jump ahead, but I think season 2 starts off really strong. So I'm all for this episode and its predecessors.
Nice. Which speaking of the Rainbow episode, I noticed in this when watching it is that you hear Higgins' ringtone a little bit later in this episode when Julie calls him, and it's Rainbow as his ringtone. And I was like, nice. Layering that, yeah, I was like layering that in there a little bit early, which I mean, that's what I like about doing this rewatch. So far as like noticing the stuff that you're not necessarily gonna notice the first time around when you're watching it, because you don't know it's something important to watch out for later on, because it's not important to you yet necessarily. But then realizing some of the stuff earlier on is like, oh, okay. I can see how far ahead they were, or seemingly how far ahead they were thinking in some cases for certain things. So it's cool to see some of that stuff like layered in and peppered into. And like you were saying, with the next episode is the Christmas episode, and then later in the season is also the Beard After Hours episode. Whereas when this season got ordered initially, it was also 10 episodes like the first season was. So they had, you know, the entire season kind of plotted out and figured out for like when certain things were going to happen, figured broadly. Or I think they might have already had all 10 of those episodes written, and then they got those 2 extra episodes ordered for this season. And then, so that's why I know like some people feel like those 2 episodes are kind of detached, but because they kind of have to be by necessity, because the rest of the
That's what
narrative
bottle episodes generally are,
Mhm.
detached from it. So,
But I feel like
Yeah,
those
Beard
2,
After Hours grew on me.
yeah, I think they work really well. Even like you can watch them separately, especially Carol of the Bells. But I think that Beard After Hours works really well. Almost like if you just watch that with the episode that played before it too, just as like one kind of like long episode, and then like it just kind of like goes into just like a solo Beard's story for like the last third act of it. I think that works well for that too. But Bonnie, I know, so like you're gonna join us last time, but like what do you think so far of like kind of how Nate's kind of, I guess, dickish evolution is going?
Yeah,
so
I
far
can
in
see the
season 4?
cracks a bit more. Like there's just a little bit more in the episodes, and he's like, well, you know, he was really mean to me, but it feels different. It feels different than it did in season 1. And I think I put something in the notes like, no, Nate, no, like it's going to change anything. But like, I know it's coming, but I can see it a little bit more now than I think I could the first time through. Like the first time I watched it. This is only my second time watching it through. I definitely noticed it more now than I did the first time. I think
The
it
first time
felt a bit more
through,
shocking. Yeah.
the first time through, you overlook a lot of stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just Nate, and he's kind of coming in his
Mhm.
own, and like it's only after when he goes full heel, you're like, oh, a lot of this was like spitting on the mirror, like kind of fucked up.
Oh,
So
Right.
Mhm.
it's only after that you realize that like, oh, the signs were there and this was slowly building, and it wasn't just like the last few episodes where he started Breaking Bad.
100%. Yeah. And I think it hurt more the first time. You're like, oh, this feels personal. And now, like
Mhm.
you said, I see it more 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like, so Mike and I kind of talked
Oh.
about. Well, you and I kind of talked about this before we started recording, and then figured we should save talking about it until we like actually get into the episode. But like Sam sends the text to his dad, like basically proud of, you know, doing the ad for Dubai Air and whatnot. And then he gets the text back from his dad, and he like learns like what all is like going on at Dubai Air and
Mhm.
with its like parent company. And I was saying I thought it was interesting that his dad called Sam a shill, and I was just because like that term, like at least in 2024 context,
More
like,
recently.
yeah, is like I was like, oh man, is Nate's dad Ola a Star Wars Theory subscriber?
Do you want me to go get at him? I will. If you guys want to talk about stuff, if you want to talk about him, I heard a
No.
rant about it this
No.
morning.
Nobody wants to.
We got
talk
to
about Star
stop
Wars
giving
Theory.
him screen time of any
Yeah.
kind. But
Speaking of shilling for foreign governments, we're all getting paid $100,000 for this, right? That's how this works. All podcasts now are getting funded.
Only if you take the tape off of this, then
Then
which when I remember when I saw this first time, I was like, I know that Dubai Air is actually like a real company, so I was like, I wonder like went into like all the, I guess, negotiations of like, because I
well,
figured
you're not
that-
saying Dubai Air is bad. They're saying
well,
the parent company is bad.
I mean, it's guilty by association in a way. So, but I was like, I want to know like how like they presented the storyline to that company to, and then like I guess they're cool.
I
in
think
real life.
I
if
know.
they
I think
okayed it.
Dubai Air is fake. I think it's supposed to be the one that sponsors a lot of Premier League, like Emirates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like a play on that.
It
So
is
there, I mean,
fictional. Yeah.
yeah, they didn't
Okay.
have to negotiate that, but it's certainly, if I were Emirates and I was watching this, I would be like, that I'm not happy about that. That's tough.
Or
Guess whose
Qatar.
plane is kicking some people off next time they're on it?
Bill
I mean,
Lawrence
Jennifer
and Joe
Aniston
can't
Is it
fly
a shill for
Emirates.
Emirates?
Oh.
Yeah, someone else does like one
She
for
was at
Qatar
one point.
too. I think. I don't know. But because I remember in the NBC Sports shorts, it was like Dubai Jet, right? Which like that seemed like way more like fake. Like Dubai Jet, like that sounds fake, but like Dubai Air, for whatever reason, I've thought that was like a real company. For how long ago did I watch this season? 4 or 5 years.
I think I thought it was real until I saw this episode, and then I was like, "There's no way that they would sanction their brand for this."
Today
That'd be a very tough conversation. The money would not make sense.
That's true. That's true.
We'll give you our entire production budget to let us say this.
I'm not even sure that would cover it. I don't
Probably
I
not.
don't think that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure Hollywood has enough money to make an airline do this.
Yeah,
I would
especially
love to
Dubai.
see it.
Yeah,
If
I was gonna
anyone
say,
could, like if Christopher Nolan was like, for my next movie, I need to make Delta admit some wrongdoings. I think he maybe has the juice to get that done, but I don't think anybody else does.
he's just gonna make a movie about the dude that crapped his pants on a Delta airplane. I feel like if
I
anybody
do not
can
sign
make,
off on that. I do not get my rights.
oh wait, what? But I feel like if anybody can make that like an entertaining thriller of like it's like a ticking clock movie. It's like he needs to get off this plane.
Well, we had
by this
snakes on a
time,
plane, for Christ's sake.
or something's
just
going
shit
to
on a plane.
explode.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
shit's on a plane.
Something's going to explode, and it's not going to be
Starring
a bomb.
Kevin James and Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the appropriate cast for that Christopher Nolan movie. Oh man. Anyways, speaking of doing that on an airplane, yeah. Can we have
Dumb.
ice cream for
Dumb.
dinner? No, that's dumb. You're right. Thanks for helping me set boundaries.
Phoebe and Roy's relationship is precious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that whole scene. I was like, man, if only all kids were like Phoebe.
They can be.
Can they?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah. Your godson is your daughter?
Depends on the moment. I'm her parent, so it's different for me.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Because Roy isn't her dad, so she's gonna respect him more than she would her mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I tell my daughter every day, you can't have ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have to eat some food.
And does she say, "You're right. Thank you for setting boundaries"?
Depends on the moment. Depends on how hungry she is.
It's true. But I like this whole scene though too, because anytime we see like Rebecca and like Roy together, I like seeing that friendship, and then especially with Phoebe and Nora interacting with one another too. It's like adding another like layer to that whole thing. And then even though Roy isn't technically a parent, like he does give, like you were saying, Kyle, earlier, like he does give that really good kind of like parently advice to Rebecca, but about how he treats Phoebe and like what she responds to and whatnot. I just think that's one of the reasons why, like if like Keely and Roy had like worked out, and like if they had their own like
They might have. We don't know.
Maybe that's what season 4 is. It's just called Roy and Keely plus 8. It's like,
yeah, I know we're talking about we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but that is, I will just stake my claim, that is my biggest season 3 gripe. I think the Keely's entire storyline was just poorly handled, and Keely really one of the last times we see Roy, when him and Jamie show up at her house, is the most out of character Roy thing in the world. Like that's something maybe Jamie would do, but Roy showing up to do that is just a poor choice. But I digress. We're not talking about that. We're talking about season. We're talking about when things are good, and I like when things are good.
Speaking of that, and speaking of other possible season 4 stuff, I like this stuff with the character Shannon, where Ted's talking to her in the alleyway there, like near his apartment, because we don't ever really get like a lot with that character. and she's not really even in like speaking of season, she's not really in season 3 all that much because I think she was on a different show or like was busy doing a show or she's like a bigger character during that season. But I do hope if they do a season 4 and if it is following like the women's team idea that I hope, because they already kind of like pre-built in kind of like this history with this character, that she would maybe be like one of the main characters of that show.
She could be the Jamie Tart on the team,
but not start as being like a dick.
Hopefully
Like
she's more of a Roy or a Sam.
right?
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of bummed that we don't see as much of her like as it goes on, because I like these like little times like that, like Ted has like these interactions like with her, but they're always like short, but I don't know, they're always pretty just, I don't know, good scenes in there.
Yeah, the show's done a good job populating Richmond with those. There's the old man who calls him a wanker all the time. They have some interactions. There's obviously the three kind of the three super fans, and we get that payoff in Beard. I think it's in Beard After Hours. We get that great payoff with them and a couple other people. So they've done a good job kind of populating Richmond with these little characters.
That's true. And like so like that scene too, like with like, you know, Nora and Phoebe and Rebecca and Roy kind of segues into Rebecca asking Nora if she wants to shadow her at work the next day, and she's like, oh, it's probably gonna be super boring and all that. But then like Nora's like really responsive to it. So like I like that setup for it. And then like when we get that like the next day, I like that whole kind of interaction with them, with like how she's like helping her at work, and then like, you know, like the interaction with Keeley. They're like they walk in and Keeley's like set up shop like at her desk. She's like, oh, I like that there's not like the smells.
There's no smell.
Yeah, because she's like in the basement, like near like the locker room and whatnot. So
I didn't even think she had an office
near the boot room.
Yeah, because I didn't think she did at first, and then we saw it in this episode because it's got all of like her pastel like binders and stuff on the shelves in there, and then that nice huge life size like wall decal of Roy on the wall in her office there too.
Yeah, when Jamie goes to see her.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that whole interaction between all of them there. And
I don't know why I thought that was her house, not the stadium, when I first just watched it. I don't know, it just didn't even dawn on me she was at the stadium. Even though she walks him upstairs to Dr. Shannon's office. Or Sharon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that too. And yeah, like and she tells Jamie
she gets paid to listen to you complain.
And Jamie's like, so I just sit here and talk about myself? She's like, yeah. Like, nice.
It's always good seeing someone experience therapy for the first time.
Yeah. Well, and then with Jamie, that's almost like he's like, oh, so like the point of this is for me to just talk about myself. Like that's like cool. That's like I'm supposed to do that. But so that I'm plus I think, you know, like we kind of alluded to, but by the, you know, in this episode you can just kind of see how it's already kind of sort of helping him a little bit, like because he might not have like made the choice that he does with stepping up to back up Sam by the end of the episode if he hadn't like maybe already had one session. Obviously not one session's gonna, you know, like help, you know, Jamie to like, you're like, congratulations, you're cured.
Yeah, he's on the way though. It's the first therapy session is the hardest one to attend, so Jamie's on the way.
Yeah, that's the one where you have to figure out. It's like, all right, what is the priority for what I need to talk about in this one, and then what can I delay to talk about until later ones, and then hopefully those are registered enough in my head that I don't forget to talk to those by the next one, because other things that have happened in between the sessions. And now I need to talk about this stuff too. And now I'm sharing too much because now I'm just talking about like how my mind thinks about like when I have different therapy sessions.
I mean, Dr. Sharon will hear some shit when it comes to Jamie, considering his upbringing. His dad.
Oh yeah. James' dad sucks. Reminder, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
In case you forgot.
Stinks.
But yeah, and so like we've alluded to this earlier too, but we get the introduction of Led Tasso
Oh, that's right.
in this episode, aka Ted Lasso from the NBC Sports shorts.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically
Mhm.
Led Tasso is basically just that version of Ted from the house. Kyle, did you ever see the NBC Sports
I
shorts?
did, yeah. Like I when they announced they were creating the show, I was familiar. Like I was a fan of those spots. I thought they're funny. I've always loved Sudeikis. So yeah, I love the shorts and the commercials.
And then, so Bonnie, since like you have just seen those NBC Sports shorts, like I think for the past time in like this past year, did Led Tasso now after seeing them, that feel more familiar to that version of Ted to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was. I don't. But see, the thing is, I feel like we know in the shorts that's just kind of how he was,
Yeah.
and in this it was more of a tactic versus that's not who he actually is. So I think it was like, to me, I read it as same but different. I didn't see that as making him more unlikable. I just went, okay, I get what he's trying to do, but Ted, go to therapy. That was just kind of how I looked at that.
Yeah.
Similar. It was like you really thought this was going to work, and with Dr. Sharon being there, it's like you're really just trying to show you're smarter than her with this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Although,
Which is
like,
silly.
I like in that though, where like Ted says to Beard, like, I think it's time for these young fellas to meet that guy, and like Beard's like scared of Led Tasso, and he's like, no. It's like they don't need to meet that guy. They don't. Nobody does. And I wonder how much of Led Tasso dealt with Beard when Beard was like really going through his shit.
Stealing a loaf of meth.
Yeah.
I wonder if Led Tasso was like there to like teach Beard with like tough love during those times from time to time. So that's why like, Beard is like almost like scared of him.
What Ted did for Beard.
Yeah.
Convinced the cops that he lent him his car.
Yeah. I just like how Nate's like super confusing. He's like, who's that guy? And then like later on, like when he comes out, he's like, oh, okay, now I get it. He's just like, oh, it's just like the opposite.
It's a funny bit.
Yeah. But I like there's like so many, like I found myself laughing like basically like every single thing that he said as Led Tasso.
Touch your toes. Those are your feet fingers. Let's go, dummies. Touch your toes. Now touch each other's toes.
In there though too, is like he's like, no, touch your toes. Touch your feet. Touch your feet
toes.
fingers.
Touch each other's toes.
Touch each other's toes. It's like talking about like rubbing the nub on the.
Then what? You start caressing it and playing with like the little air hole nub. Yeah, messing around with that, making out with it, making it your girlfriend. Is that what you want to do? Then what? Ask it to marry you? Huh? Y'all want to be married to a ball?
The soccer ball. He's like, you want to make that ball your girlfriend? You want to marry it? Make it your wife?
I don't know. Strange.
Oh, and I like
coaches try weird things, man. That's the name of the gig. You try a bunch of stuff. You throw spaghetti against the wall until it sticks.
And there's a nice callback to where he's like, "What's the matter, O'Brien? Your butt still hurt?"
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. There's like some other thing too, I put it in the quotes because I thought it was funny, but it was the. So I hope y'all drink a lot of water today because y'all are going to be so dehydrated that you're going to look like one of them trees from Tim Burton movie.
I hope y'all drink a lot of water today because y'all going to be so dehydrated that you're going to look like one of them trees from a Tim Burton movie. I'm talking any Tim Burton movie. Even Dumbo.
Any Tim Burton movie. Even Dumbo. Even frickin' Dumbo.
I always forget that he made that remake.
Mm-hmm.
That's upsetting.
Well, and that is why he made Beetlejuice because after that he left Disney to make go full Tim Burton again. But like
full Tim Burton.
Yeah, like overall, like I guess what did you think of Led Tasso, like the Led Tasso scenes, Mike?
Like I said, I felt like it was more of him trying to upstage the doc, instead of being a legitimate coach. Like, I understand what he was trying to do, because the doc sums it up for us. Like, you want them to hate you. It didn't work. I don't think he's not mean, so it just like was too off character.
Yeah, I think maybe the
gotten
players
to
are
at this point
more confused than mad at him. Maybe they're like, "What's like? Is he okay?"
If he had done that stuff just as like Ted, as himself, probably would have been more effective.
Yeah,
probably weirded out the team more than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
It was funny. I got a chuckle out of it, watching him try to be formidable and angry and struggle with all the rambling he was doing.
Yeah. But like the other thing that we have gone on like around this time too is like Sam would come up to and talk to Rebecca and told her that her and Keely that he needed to pull out of the Dubai Air promotion, and like he had like that's the kind of where we see that first thing where like Nora's like a slight not maybe a crush, but or just like that she just like likes Sam a lot, and like he has the conversation about Frozen with her, so we get another. So it seems like Kyle's only on the episodes where Frozen is brought up in Ted Lasso. Since
that's true. Yeah, because we get the karaoke and make Rebecca great again.
Yeah, so Kyle only appears on episodes of The Richmond Way where Frozen is also discussed. That was in his contract for.
That was part of the deal.
Yeah. So like the other thing here too that I thought was I like this with Rebecca and Nora here too. Like Nora shares like the story about like getting caught for smoking in the bathroom, and like she could have been okay, but instead she decided to get in trouble too so that she could help her friend. And then like she says the thing to Rebecca is like sometimes you have to do the right thing even if you lose. And I thought that was another like just like great quote like within the episode here, and it's like like you're saying like they treat like whether it's Phoebe or Nora or like any age character like a fully formed character, and don't write them like a younger character or like any less wise just because they're under a certain age or whatever. So it's
there's always something to learn from kids.
They
utilize that when towards the end of season 1 when Keely calls Phoebe over and asks her like why she loves her uncle and things like that. And so the show does a good job of that. Obviously, Henry being a main pull of bringing Ted back to America. So I'm not surprised that they did a good job with Nora.
And so that like also goes to the scene with them writing the letter to the Richard Cole, and this it's like the whole back and forth there where like Nora's like dictating it and Rebecca's changing it a little bit, and then when you get to the last one, this is where boss ass bitch comes from. That's the highest tier of the Patreon. Well, kind of, sort of, but yeah. So yeah, I like that. That's where boss ass bitch comes from. And I like that whole scene too, because like you kind of see again this like a little bit more progression with Rebecca here too, or again softening and being more of like the old Rebecca that Sassy talked about in season 1, like prior to Rupert and everything. So you kind of see that coming back in here a little bit more, and we see that a little bit more and more. What did you guys think about like that scene with Nora and Rebecca?
It's one of my them writing the email is really special. And it's clear that like they bonded at that point. Nora's got to go to work. And it's Rebecca coming to her own as an owner. This is the first season we see her like fully trying to do what's best for the club. We really only see that in 1 out of 10 episodes. in season 1. So really just another stepping stone, and like Rebecca wanting this club to be successful.
Cool.
You
Yeah.
creepy old pedo.
My old friend.
Sam isn't going anywhere, arsehole.
I have decided not to release Sam Obisanya.
You're a shitty old man with a tiny shriveled penis. I feel sorry for your wife. Her life must be a constant hell.
Please give Daphne my love.
Sincerely, boss-ass bitch.
Sincerely, boss-ass bitch.
Yeah, it just reminded me of the battle I have at work sometimes when I'm responding to people. Like, what Nora's saying is what I really want to say, but I have to be diplomatic here.
Mm-hmm.
So then you type what
So-
Rebecca's saying.
I
Except
can to
for
some
the-
people. They think I'm joking, but
Do you sign everything boss-ass bitch too?
I don't have that cred. No.
That's what your
I
business
do.
cards say.
There you go.
Don't have any. Need business cards.
Do your business cards say that, Bonnie? Or just say voice?
The new
versa?
ones do.
Oh, there you
The
go.
new ones do. Yeah. They're on order right now from Vistaprint. And if you use code superhero at Vistaprint, you'll get 10% off your next order. No, I'm sorry. I do those ads. I really liked that relationship, and I think there was a lot of guilt that Rebecca was feeling from not having been around, and even
Mhm.
that, like, no, I'm just kidding, maybe not fully, and Rebecca's realizing how grown up she is, and
Mhm.
somebody younger than you can inspire you. And I think there were a lot of steps of Rebecca taking back a lot of her power in this. She took Roy's advice on dating, which I thought was wonderful. And she was really listening to people more in this episode. And she looked, I don't know, I think she looked better. Not that she wasn't like gorgeous to begin with, because she is. But I think I said something, I was like, oh, she's having kind of a glow up in here. Like, all right, Rebecca, you go. Like, she just looked different. I don't know.
A glow up from the glow up.
I think so. There was something different, and maybe I can't pinpoint what it was, but
It was her aura.
it was interesting.
To take something from all the Olympic coverage. She had a
Yeah,
good
I
aura.
like that. Yeah,
Like thinking of it like that too is like, because like Rebecca's like becoming more free and like more of like aware of herself and kind of becoming healthier, like mindset wise. Maybe that's just kind of giving her like Mike said, a like different aura about her. Like it's not necessarily like a tangible thing, but like you can kind of sense it like in like how you're seeing her. Yeah, I can see that.
you glow differently. Yeah.
Nice.
Also really liked her camel coat outfit, just on the fashion front. I was like, that's a vibe. I like that outfit. All right, Rebecca, you go.
That felt like a very Hannah Waddingham outfit from like what I've seen Hannah Waddingham just like wear in general, just like for like different press junkets for like different movies and stuff. That just felt like Hannah Waddingham chose that outfit for.
She just wore it to set that day.
Yeah,
she just showed up.
Yeah,
and they were like, you know what? We like it. It's already tailored. Let's go.
She's always looking fabulous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember like when she did ThunderDong last year too, is like that, like they had like a standard t-shirt for that, and like she had cut like the sleeves and like the neck of it, and people were like, oh, can we buy that version of it? And they were like, she just cut the sleeves off and the neck, so I mean, yes, technically, and then you just do the same thing.
Do it yourself.
So
charge more. They got to sell it with a pair of scissors and charge more.
There you go. Hannah Waddingham cut off all of these sleeves and the necks of these shirts. So there you go.
As well she should.
There you go. And speaking of things that Rebecca wears at certain points in the season, segueing into Sam, Sam puts the gaffer tape along the Dubai Air logo in like the next scene there, and I like this whole scene too, because then we get like Isaac, and I don't know what the other character's name is, but like the Isaac. Does anybody else know what that other character's name is?
I think what he says is literally his only line of this series. I thought that last night.
Okay, so they just wanted to have more than Isaac and Sam being the only two Nigerian players on the team.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So like they put the tape on their kit, and then Jamie follows suit to that, and then so does everybody else at that point. And like it's what I think Bonnie was alluding to earlier too, where like Jamie starts to kind of make that progression where he says, "You're my teammate, man. Gotta wear the same kit."
Yeah, that was a turning point for sure. Because it wasn't bribing them with PS5s, and they're like, "Well, why are you gonna? That's just buying people." And he's like, "Yeah, duh." But that was something that was heartfelt, and I think even his teammates were like, What are you doing?" Because it was weird to see that coming from him. But I think that was a really good moment.
Yeah. It's crucial. I mean, it's crucial. That's how he earns his way back in.
It's true. And then then they take the field, and everybody takes off, like their warm up jacket, and you see the entire team wearing just wearing the kits like that, and you see Ted kind of seeing it and being touched by it a bit. And then after the game, that's where he says, "Doing the right thing is never the wrong thing," which is a quote that is like it's like the sticker that you see outside of be a goldfish or believe, or it's like one of the lines from the barbecue sauce. Like it's one of those lines from Ted Lasso that's like usually one of the stickers or quotes that you find somewhere in Ted Lasso merch. And then like this episode also is like another one of those like random credit sequence where it's not just just the the credits going over the screen but it's like a little fun one where it's like just the pics that they took with Nora and Sassy and the team. And I like during that even though like they lost that game, that they're still celebrating because they came together as a team for that. And when they go to take the picture, Keely is mindful enough. She's like, put your beers away so that you're not taking a picture with a underage minor photo that's gonna get posted online probably.
It's like a gentler version of the Hangover credits.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Jeez. Yeah, you're not getting. Yeah. Yeah. So like, what did you guys kind of think about like how this episode wrapped up here, like with like these last few beats here at the end of it?
It shows that while they're not winning, it like cements that the addition of Jamie is going to be fine. I'm glad that they didn't drag that out over like 3 episodes. They're just like, Jamie's part of the team now. We're good to go.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
Michael.
Sorry, I spaced out. Very tired. What was the question? I couldn't hear you for some reason.
That's all right. I'm used to that. I said, how did you like how the end of this episode kind of like panned out there, and all the little bits?
It came full circle with Jamie regaining the trust of the team and being a member again, and then Nora getting to take the pictures was always its good little moment.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
It's like you have the Lasso way working because they're celebrating a loss.
Yeah.
But he celebrated a loss in the first season with cake because it was Sam's birthday.
Yeah, now Jamie is also part of that celebration and not walking off pissed off and mad that they're celebrating that they lost. Plus, it did break their tie streak.
Yeah.
Which there's that joke earlier. I didn't put it in my quotes, but I just remembered it saying the word streak. He's like, I'm never worried about a little streak in my drawers. It's part of growing up.
Right. Terrible.
I was like,
Ted's always on fire in those press conferences.
I was like, Ted, you need to wipe yourself better if you got that many streaks.
You're Ted. You had a bidet.
Speaking of Dane Cook earlier, did you thoroughly what? No, typical. Now, like going into like the quotes, there's one that I didn't say earlier, but I had written down here that I thought was good and kind of shows like where Ted's mind is at and where we'll get later on for like in the Rainbow episode with his speech about like rom-com unism, where he's like, yeah, I'm not really looking for anything romantic right now either. but boy, what if I did get on there and I met my soulmate and it changed the whole course of my life? That'd be pretty neato. Yeah. So like you can still, like he's still, you know, he's in a weird space right now where he's definitely still like thinking about Michelle, but he's, you know, he's also got the other stuff that he doesn't really have defined with like Sassy. That's not really like a relationship, but it's
and a good lead in to what would have been the next episode if they didn't have the two.
Oh yeah, because then it would have been
bells.
Rainbow if it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a Christmas episode after this. Yeah, which that then makes Higgins' ringtone in this, like if it was straight into the next one, even kind of more interesting. Yeah, and then I think the only other quote I had in there was, but I think what, because I liked this one too, but I think what Sam and the team did today was courageous. I've never needed to have that kind of courage because, well, honestly, when bad things happen to people like me, y'all have a tendency to write about it without being asked. Sam had to go and get y'all's attention, you know. So if you have any more you want to know about, you can ask him. Which I liked that because like that goes in the whole thing about like people getting like pissed off about people like kneeling like at like NFL games or shit like that, because like you have to do something to get, you know, the attention, because otherwise if you don't do some of that stuff, like no one's ever going to like pay attention to like things that matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You knew Ted would back Sam. You knew he'd be supportive and say the right thing. Same way that that Roy backs Isaac later in in season 3. So yeah, not surprised at all for you know Ted to have Sam's back there.
Nice. And then Bonnie, you had some quotes that I don't think we did yet.
Oh yeah, the unsolicited descriptions of dicks. I was like, that's just being a woman on dating apps. So that was correct, and that made me laugh. Yeah, and then but see, then with Nate, like when he's like, but you know, women are pretty picky too. It's like, oh, you feel bad, and then you're like, ooh, Nate, don't be an incel.
That's tough.
I know. I kind of waffled back and forth, but those are the important ones to me. Out of looking at those again.
Turd bird, I love it. You had turd birds on there too. I liked that one. Yeah, and then we already kind of talked about like the don't call back, call forwards, like the intro of banter becomes, you know, like a bigger thing from here on out, and the show replacing Dubai Air for the front of kit sponsor. Colin bringing up Grinder, and then Bonnie also had another fun fact here for.
I did put the fun fact. Do you want to read it?
Sure. Hand in My Pocket was going to be the theme song to Dawson's Creek.
How about that?
Mm-hmm. That was originally going to be the theme song, and then they went with the song that we all know instead.
Yeah, bringing it back to
not as good of a breakup album as Jagged Little Pill, I will say.
No.
That one slaps as a breakup album.
I mean, that's probably a Mount Rushmore breakup album.
Bringing it back to Mighty Ducks, though. You know, you got Pacey on Dawson's Creek there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've never watched Dawson's Creek, but I've been told many times that one, I would have enjoyed it because I would have identified with Dawson because he was a big fan of Steven Spielberg and wanted to be a filmmaker. I was like, oh, okay. And also because I liked Mighty Ducks and Joshua Jackson from that. And I saw a clip recently from that where it's Pacey talking about the Mighty Ducks movies. And he's like, oh, Emilio and those Mighty Ducks movies, they're so good. And then like they just like give him like an awkward look. And I was like, is this the Last Action Hero rules though? So who's Charlie in the Mighty Ducks movies in the Dawson's Creek universe? If it's not Joshua Jackson, or does Charlie just look a lot like Pacey?
Just looks a lot alike. Yeah.
You just look a lot like him.
Yeah.
It was great 90s teen TV viewing, I will say.
He's back in our lives with that. He's playing that cruise ship surgeon or cruise ship doctor on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. And network TV pays well. Hope he lives in a really nice house.
Yeah. Seems like a good dude. But yeah, was there anything else that we hadn't brought up yet that anybody else wanted to bring up before we close out the episode?
I think we hit all my points. This is a quality episode.
Nice. I agree with that. So I think then with that, I'm not to the thing, so it's not going to scare Bonnie this time because it's going to take me a second to get to it.
No, I'm ready. I'm looking at pictures of Harrison Ford. Nothing can scare me now.
Wait, you said you're looking at pictures of Harrison Ford?
Mm-hmm. Always.
Fuck me.
There you go. There you go.
Oh boy.
But
Adam knows it's fine.
Yeah. Harrison Ford is your Hollison Ford pass.
Harrison Ford is everyone's hall pass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's all four of ours on here. There you go.
Yeah.
No, he's not a hall pass. He's just, it's happening. I don't care. He was here before Adam.
He's the entire hall.
Yeah.
He fills it up.
Wait.
Well, hopefully.
Wait. Oh wow. That seems like a good. That seems like a good
place to stop. A good place to finish. I agree.
Yeah. That's a climactic.
Finish in the hallway.
Anyways, and that's a good segue to the title of Kyle's book.
Movies with Balls. Yes, thank you guys so much for having me again. Movies with Balls, greatest sports films of all time, analyzed and illustrated. That is available now wherever books are sold. You can buy it off Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org. It is our love letter to 26 of the greatest fictional sports movies of all time. Looks great on a coffee table, looks great on a bookshelf, looks great under a Christmas tree. So
there you go.
Or
knock out all your shopping right now.
Or a menorah, he says.
Yeah. Looks great under any sort of holiday themed.
Do they put gifts under the menorah?
No, but it's okay.
It's a thought.
It still looks great wherever you decide to display it in your home.
That's exactly
there we
it.
go.
It could be in an Easter basket. It could be Valentine's Day. Anything.
Harrison Ford will buy it.
Yeah, and then he'll tell you to get out of his house.
Be lovely. Yes. Incredible moment.
Speaking of people that Harrison Ford would not ask him to get out of his house, Bonnie, where can people find you online?
I was gonna say,
Harrison
don't find
Ford's
me.
house.
No, just kidding. At Harrison Ford's house. Please don't have me arrested. At vosuperhero.com.
Nice. And then for our website, that's going to be just richmondwaypod.com.
Our place.
Yeah, that's where you can find all of like this episode. If you're already watching that, maybe you went to YouTube or maybe you found it somewhere else. But yeah, you can find us there. You can find our Patreon there for like any of the deleted scenes or sidelined scenes, as it were. Not safe for work jokes about clowns that Bonnie may have told in an episode. Discussions about Man of Steel. Got Mike taking a Dutch lover. All those things over there at Patreon. And
it's what you do in Amsterdam, isn't it?
Yeah, peeing next to celebrities, but stories like that. That's what you can find it at patreon.com/The Richmond Way. That's what's there. Sounds like a good time. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for The Richmond Way. Thank you again, Kyle, for joining us, and we'll see you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Yay!
Yeah. Movieswithballs.com. All right, bye everybody.
Movies with Balls.
Bye.
So until next time, folks, be curious, not judgmental, and keep rewatching. This is Ted Lasso signing off. As the man once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get.